Hey, what's up? Coach Kyle here. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe for future content and look back at old videos. There's a ton of them. Today I want to talk about shoe drop and if it's important. And shoe drop is the drop from the heel to the midfoot. And in most shoes, pretty much every shoe you'll find at a running store, the heel will be taller than the forefoot. Usually in the range of 5 to 15 millimeters of difference. That's about 5 to 15 pennies thick. This is a zero drop shoe. It's pretty much the only thing I run in. And that means that it's flat. The heel and the midfoot are the same height off the ground. And it's typically said that a zero drop shoe promotes more of a midfoot strike, where you hit the ground with your midfoot first. And cushioned shoes typically promote a heel strike. And some people say one is better or worse than the other, and this is not true. But anyway, I came across a really interesting article, I'll link it below, from a scientist named Ale, and he studies human movement. And he wanted to discuss if shoe drop affects foot strike. And he talks about I think a study he participated in with 300 participants, and they looked at the shoes that people were running in and compared the foot strike patterns, and they found that that shoe model didn't really affect foot strike pattern and other types of movement as well during the run gait. And then he talks about a couple other studies that were really interesting. One had 59 participants, and the researchers gave the three groups 3 different drops of shoes, 10, 6, and 0 millimeter drop shoes. Otherwise, they kept the shoes pretty much the same. So they tried to keep the shoes roughly the same weight, roughly the same rigidity, and everything. And another study looked at 35 runners, all who are habitual rear foot strikers, meaning heel strikers, make initial ground contact with the heel first. So they were habitual heel strikers, and they had not run in low drop shoes within the last year. And they broke them into a few groups, gave them a minimal shoe, a conventionally cushioned shoe, and a racing flat. And in both groups, both studies, they found that running style was basically unaffected by changes in the characteristics of shoes. So Ale says that what the group concluded is that changes of drop in standard cushioned shoes did not produce any significant biomechanical differences, not even after 6 months of adapting to their new or different running shoe type. There was a tiny little difference in knee abduction angle during the mid-stance. In a similar fashion, Nig and his colleagues found that the vast majority of runners did not see any changes in their preferred movement pattern when changing shoes. So, shoe drop apparently doesn't really matter. You run however you run. And one of the big things with running technique is that it always changes. I am obviously primarily a midfoot striker, as you can see with this wear right here. However, I have wear on the heel of my shoe too. I heel strike. I have more of a rear foot landing. It's pretty worn out right here actually, but it's super worn out right here and even up here. So I change my running technique, my running form, my foot strike with pace. As I slow down, if I do a recovery jog or super easy run, I'll land farther back on my shoe. If I'm running at 5K pace, I'll land farther forward. Running uphill versus downhill results in different running techniques. Fast, slow, tired legs, fresh legs. All this changes how your foot moves and how you move. And that's totally fine. It's normal. It's necessary. So don't get too caught up with your foot movement or your shoes. As long as your shoes are comfortable, you're in the right pair. You might have to make differences or choices based on cushioning level for long runs or short runs, or weight for races, but so preference can change based on the type of run as well. But that comfort is the primary factor when considering shoes. And don't try to force midfoot striking or heel striking. Just it's almost always to just go with the flow, go with what feels best. And usually your body adapts to what you do, and it self-regulates and self-optimizes into the best, the most optimal technique for you. So go with the flow and don't worry too much about it.